Good evening, good night, good morning, good afternoon, worldwide. Renegade there. All right, this evening, yeah, special guest this evening, yes, is Professor Christopher Charles. Yes, professor, teacher, University of the West Indies, right? Um, Professor in political and social psychology. Yes, and we're gonna talk about the poll again today. We're going to talk about the poll again today. I'm supposed to log on right now. Yes, so we're going to talk about the poll today. Yes. Yes, man. So, yes. So, say, we have to just sit back, relax, because this are well nice, Yeah? I wanna today, well nice. That's show you tonight, when you can't miss it. Well, we say Dan and listen put out a part of poll. We want to explain some things to us. And we're going to ask some questions, very important, yeah? Yes. Very important question. Yes. So if them call election no, say, a landslide, PNP gone with it. But them put out the poll and we still ask some little question. But something I was say the JLP them stuck. We say them stuck. Stuck, like early be tune, stuck, Cause the Prime Minister come with trickery, but you remember nothing and grown him now. So nobody now wants the Prime Minister right now. Nobody. Nobody. And that's the truth. That's the truth. Remember the man on statutory declaration cannot be certified. 4 years ago, 4 years now. Four. Anybody else them that pay some money and do some kind of things. You shouldn't even depend on the ballot. No two way about it. Yes? Then you have so much other things where I'm involved in. I see the SSL things and them a try and both money gone and everything, and I am alone with the collect money. Him are the lightest thing ever walk on the earth. Yes. Lightest thing. This guy not supposed to, he's not supposed to be on the ballot. And then you have other people with him. Other people with him with pure foolishness. So, he does over there right now. So make us start. And the professor Lagi now, make us start for sure right now, yeah? Yes.
We in lump sum, we a beat it till the hammer burn. We now make them get in and them and again. None of them boy that we none of them. We in lump sum, we a beat it till the hammer burn. We now make them get in and them and again. None of them boy that we none of them. We alone some rise up the bomber day.
I'm not a Judas, them a backstabber. I'm my wife, and this straight beauty and glamour. No guy can walk to name me with no dagger. Maybe the heart of Mandela, but the mind of a Zama in the mold. Like a bull man, we send us the jammer. Lyrically inclined, be a metaphor, so no listen to lyrics line to line. Become a lyrical fighter. Put up in the rhythm, they want some more hole in a hater. Lyrically inclined.
Yes, man. All right, so I'm up. But Professor, you say you're waiting, but me not see you login. Me just send back this to you, because yes. Me not just see yes. No, come up here, Prof. Professor, come up here to you. Me send back this. Me make sure I send back a next link to him because him say I'm wait. But me not see him yet. Yes. Me send back a link to the professor right now. Yes. All right, I'm going to send it back. No. Send it back right away. Waiting now. Log in. Yes. Right. Paste this. Mm-hmm. Yes, Professor. We not see a come in as yet, yeah? All right. So as we also know, Professor, I'm saying man again my wait. Yes. Yeah, waiting now. Okay. Mm-hmm. Yes, me I look out for him, but me never see, you know. When I'm waiting, I look back and I never see him, so I just send it back. So we attach a link. All right. So maybe just me put up this in the meantime. Professor, I look for login right now. Put up back this in the meantime, yeah? Hold on. I could just put up back this. All right, so we'll put up back this. See? So this will show you, say, and if you read up there, so which party would you vote for if election were called today? And it tells us a PMP, there's and them that win by landslide, same way and everything. And then we see the JLPS and them stagnant and thing, you know, stagnant. All the goodies and everything with them say no, now work. That now work. Yes, and click on the link. Hold on. Let me call him back. Why am I link? Yeah. So you click on the link. Yes. So them stagnant. Hold on. All right, good. All right, yes, man. All right. So welcome, Prof. Yes. All right. So let us put up this right now. What I want to talk to you upon. Good evening. Let me make you say good evening to the people them first, and then I'll put it up back. I'm gonna move this. How you doing? Professor?
Very good, very good. Very tired. Doing a lot of stuff. But you know, we're coming from the trenches, so we're always pushing.
I
I know you want to talk about the polls, and I have
yes.
my own scientific understanding of how they ought to be interpreted, and I will talk about some of that this evening.
Okay, good. All right, make us put it up back right now. Make us put it up back.
All right. No, that too. No, man, are they feature that, man.
This is a feature.
Yeah, man. I want to go right back to the corruption poll because I'm going to show you a trend.
Okay, all right. Just never drop that one, but maybe
that's fine. No, man. I will say it and people can look.
Yes.
I will say it and people can look. That's the latest one. I'm gonna talk about that at the end.
Yeah. Yes.
There's a trend of misinterpreting polls in Jamaica.
Yes.
Right? Of misinterpreting polls. So let's take the one on corruption. Right?
Yes.
The widespread view is that the majority of Jamaicans are not interested or are indifferent towards corruption. That is not so. That's not true. Let us look at the numbers. Remember, when you're interpreting the poll findings, everything is out of 100%. So all the answers must sum up to 100. Yes. Any category that is over 50% is going to be the majority. And you have to look at what it says and interpret it appropriately, correctly.
Yes.
So let us go now. 57% out of the 100%, right?
Yes.
Right? Said did not give an opinion. They did not state an opinion. Right? Right? They said they're not giving they don't have an opinion. That's what they said, you know.
Yes.
Right? So that leaves 43%. So right away, the majority, 57%, did not give you an answer negative or positive. They just say we don't have an opinion. Any researcher, any pollster knows that you have to interpret what you're told with a grain of salt. So listen to me carefully now. If I tell you I don't have an opinion about something, does that automatically mean I don't have an opinion?
No.
Does it mean I'm not interested in the thing? No. How can you, as a reasonable, rational adult, look at that 57% and then state that the majority of Jamaicans are not interested?
No, you cannot do that.
All it reported was that 50% they did not state an opinion. Not having an opinion, not stating an opinion is not the same thing as not having an opinion.
Yes.
Right? But that's what the media ran with, right? So now, let us take the 57 from the 100. It is 43%. Of that 43%, 23% held positive views about the Integrity Commission. And the 57%, was about the Integrity Commission, right?
Yes.
Right. They said they don't have an opinion. And so if they say it, so it must be so. All right. So we have to be careful. No, normally when people don't give an opinion, there are reasons for it, and you have to know how to get that out of them. But anyway, that's for another time. So of the 43%, 23% held or hold positive views about the Integrity Commission. Right? And 20% hold negative views. So how is it that people don't take it that corruption is important? It's a minority. 20%.
That's true.
Out of the 100 who has negative views about the Integrity Commission.
That's true.
How did we arrive at a national narrative that the majority of Jamaicans do not consider corruption to be important? Nothing in these findings, if you're being scientific about it,
yes,
says anything like that. And this is basic primary school mathematics.
That's true.
Grade 3 and grade 4 mathematics. So I went to what the school on Ricketts Avenue off Chisholm Avenue, the primary school that Ed Barnes calls RISU. We just say Russell primary, but Ed Barnes, right, says RISU. So I went to that school and I got a good education. And what I'm using to interpret this is that primary school education.
Yes.
Right? So how could educated people who are knowledgeable, who have sense, misinterpret this? If I tell you that I don't have any opinion, or I didn't speak an opinion.
But you're right. You're right.
You can't know really and truly if I have any. Or what, right? But you jump and say I'm indifferent. Because I don't say it's something I'm indifferent.
Yeah. No, because you don't tell them say indifferent, you're not with it or something. You don't just tell them. But if I don't want to tell them my opinion, I say, okay, I do have an opinion. That means it's cool. Everything bad, I say bad. You don't tell them say, well, me I think negative about the IC, and that. But Mr. Me not have an opinion. That means I'm good with it, That means I'm good with the IC. The IC are going good. I mean, I have to give him my opinion, but me all right. Can me never satisfy me that advice that opinion, right? Of course. You're right.
So we have to be careful. And the Prime Minister, we have to be fair to him as well. He will have his day in court when his case comes up where he's challenging the reporting the IC and so on. And we wait on that. I mean, we believe in due process. But the notion that is not important is a farce. There's no evidence. There's no evidence that it is so. Let us go to the other one before we get to your big one.
Yes. Yes.
Before jobs and the poor. So the findings about the poor were also misinterpreted. About jobs and the poor were also misinterpreted. The standard interpretation is that the people believe that the JLP government is good at creating jobs and the PNP opposition is good at taking care of the poor. right? One newspaper headline said of the findings, JLP good for jobs, PNP better for the poor. The findings only say a part of that. Only one half of that is correct. Let us look at what the findings indicate. But as I go along, you will see it's not only journalists, but there's an issue also with the pollster. And it's the first time, or maybe the second time, I'm going to make comments because I tend not to criticize people in this way.
Yes.
But I have no choice, just given how egregious the interpretation is. All right, so what did the findings indicate about the poll findings going to jump on the poor? Which party, when asked which party is better at providing jobs, 35% said JLP. No quarrels there. And 32% said PNP. Right?
Yes.
Only a fool would conclude that one party is leading when the margin of error is plus or minus 3%.
That's true.
So the JLP lead falls within the margin of error.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So the safest way is to take the 3% off. Right? Especially when the election is close. You're seeing other signs that the election is close.
Yes.
Right? So it's actually a statistical dead heat.
Yeah, we know that. Statistical dead
right?
heat. Yes.
Right. So with a margin of error plus or minus 3%, the parties are tied on providing jobs.
Yes.
What did the newspaper headline say? JLP good for jobs, PNP better for the poor.
That's misleading too.
Also misleading because the numbers indicate that the parties are tied numerically, statistically.
Yes.
All right. In terms of taking care of the poor, 13% said the JLP and 20% said the PNP.
Yes.
All right. So 13 from 20 leave how much?
13 from 20? 7.
Yeah, 7. So,
Yes.
the PNP is leading by 7, but we also have to take into account the margin of error.
Yes.
Just as we did for when the JLP was leading or said to be leading. So we're going to take, to be on the safe side, we do the minus,
Yes.
especially when the race is close. So we take 3% away.
You're going to get 4.
4.
Yes.
So the PNP, we can safely say, right, is leading the JLP by 4 percentage points when it comes to taking care of the poor.
Yes.
So what headline is really, what the findings are really saying, JLP and PNP good for jobs and PNP better for the poor. That's what the findings are saying.
Yeah, because you need to understand that because them say, when them come and we know say the margin of error, so a statistical tie, and then them say, well, the PNP are lead by this, taking care of the poor with education, with that and that. Them that just run it off. But maybe the poll start this time, maybe no one rough enough for because the election.
No. This is not the pollster. This is the media, the journalists.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So on occasions, I give a lecture every year at Caribbean, at Caramac. And I discuss some of these issues with the particular class.
Yes.
Because it's weighing me down. Just national nonsense. How can we misinterpret basic maths? How are we going to develop the country if basic mathematics we are getting wrong? We're not critical thinkers as a people. Well, let me roll back that a bit. You see what I'm telling you?
Yes.
Some of the smartest people I've encountered live in Jamaica. Some of them still live here. Some of them migrate, but some still live here. And they see it, But they're just tired. Because I meet them sometimes and just kiss them teeth. They're just tired of the nonsense.
Yes.
Right? So they don't say anything. All right. But as an academic, I have a responsibility to educate the public. All right. So now let's go to the other poll.
Yes.
That came on one of the TV stations this week, where the poll findings on the performance of the government and the opposition.
Yes.
And then the party leaders, the prime minister leader of the opposition, right? Because they're not the same. party leader and prime minister may be the same person, but they are different roles. Opposition leader and party leader, usually the same person, but they are different roles. So I don't want to conflict it. I'm in my teaching mode tonight, so forgive me. All right, so I'm going to, yeah, all right. So I'm going to put my five fingers up now, right?
Yes, yes.
All right. So my little finger here, right? Let me just,
Yes.
I'm trying to get the, all right.
Yeah, that one. We can see it, yes.
Yeah, all right. But, all right. So there are 5 points.
Yes.
5 answers.
Yes.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Right? When you ask to rate the leader of the JLP and the government and opposition in terms of performance. So there are 5 choices, answer choices that you can choose from. So you have very bad, bad, average, good, and very good, right?
Yes.
Very good. So
yes.
bad, sorry, very bad, bad, average,
good and very good.
Good and very good.
Yes.
Those are the 5 points. So we call it a 5-point scale. All right? When I looked at the numbers, the pollster tallied good and very good as positive and very bad and bad as negative, and started to compare them. But if you look at the middle, the largest answer category was average. On that scale, average is not just the midpoint. Average is also positive.
I know. Yes.
All right. But hold that for a minute. So sometimes when we speak, publicly, we consult with our colleagues because we don't know everything. So I consulted with another colleague and I spoke to others, and I realized that the main one I consulted with was wrong. Because the person was saying, or the explanation was incomplete rather. The person was saying, oh, but there are check questions. And I'll explain what check questions are. So if you ask somebody to rate the performance of the prime minister or the opposition leader, or the JLP or the PNP rather, right? The government and the opposition rather. And someone tells you that it's average performance for the government. You ask a follow-up question to see if they're going to tell you the same thing, right?
Yes.
But you have to have a follow-up question as a check for each of the 5 answer choices.
Yes.
Right? Right? You have to have a follow-up question and a system that is fair and transparent, that when you use it, you're reasonably sure that that's what the person meant, and you slot that response in the right answer choice. Right? I know I sound like a teacher tonight, but I
good. We have to teach them tonight. Yes.
All right. What it means, if you're having check questions, you have to have a check question for each answer category: bad, very bad, bad, average, good, and very good.
Yes.
So when you are talking to the public, all your numbers are supposed to be okay, worked out, and they're all supposed to sum to 100%. Right? So when you just take bad and very bad as a negative, and good and very good to be positive, and you start to compare, that's nonsense. It doesn't help, because I can take my hand down now. When you average on all circumstances, especially in this kind of scale, it's positive. When was average not positive? When was
positive? It does average. It does
average? Yeah,
average. There's something.
And it's actually the majority. It's actually the majority.
Yes.
Right. So when you add for the government and opposition, when you add the positive. Sorry, when you add the what's the middle one now?
Average, the middle one is average.
When you add the average,
very good.
That was very good.
Yes.
The ratings for the JLP government comes out at 63%. The ratings for the PNP in opposition comes out at 55%.
Yes.
That's a far cry from what we heard on one of the television stations.
Mm-hmm.
But that was confusing because you're negative, positive, and you're ignoring the large middle, which is also positive. So that actually took away points from the competitors, from the two parties.
Mm-hmm.
So how should one now interpret the 63% versus the 55%?
Mm-hmm.
As a scientist, right, the government numbers, 65 is okay, and we expect that. Why? They're in government, running the country, running the ministries, running the agencies,
Mm-hmm.
and then they add legislative responsibilities in parliament on that, and then political representations as MPs and so on and so forth, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they have more roles, tasks, and functions than the opposition. The opposition only has legislative tasks. You go to parliament, you pass law, you debate, political representation in parliament, in the constituency, and monitoring. So you're monitoring the government and saying this is wrong, you need to do better.
Yes. But
So
not
it's 3 compared to about 5. It's the government, right? So you expect the government to be higher. But it is noteworthy, listen to me carefully now, it is noteworthy, right? It is noteworthy that both the government and the opposition are over 50% in terms of performance ratings. In an election year, when the opposition, who was trailing by how many points years ago, right,
Mm-hmm.
is now this close, right? Over 50%, 5 points over 50%. That's very good, right?
Yes.
So the opposition and the government are very close, given what they have to work with as opposition in terms of roles, tasks, and function. So interestingly, both government and opposition, right, are over 50%, and it told me that the race was close, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's that. I said that from early, before the poll that you showed me first.
Yes.
Because if you look at the numbers, they start to speak to you if you know how to interpret them scientifically.
Yes.
All right. So when the same performance rating questions was asked about Holness and Golding, not the government in opposition, but prime minister leader opposition, when you add the same nonsense about negative over here and positive over here, looking at rate positive, negative compared to the last time, unhelpful, creates confusion in the country. When you add the positive ratings of the prime minister, meaning good and very good with average, he comes out at a performance rating of 60%. Right? Because I explained why you need to use average, just average. Average can't be negative. When you add the average to the good and very good for the opposition leader, it comes out at 61%. Right? So before even doing that basic summation, I realized that the race was close.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Right? All right. So remember now, we're saying the race close. So how is it that people the pollster, he has been working since I was a student,
Mm-hmm.
right? From I live in Kingston 11. I forgot you gunshot for come at Uwi. I'm going with a gunshot. He has been doing this.
Yes.
Right? So as far as I know, I give him a lot of ratings.
Yes.
Right? I remember when I was presenting at the American Political Science Association annual meeting, they had asked me to come as part of a roundtable. These are the top forecasters done on elections. Don't make a roundtable about the challenges of election forecasting, right? Right, and I gave a developing country perspective. So my presentation was on the challenges of interpreting polls. So the Gleaner was doing a story. And I said that the polls were being misinterpreted. So the Gleaner contacted the pollster. So the pollster emailed me, a very decent gentleman, and said, why are you saying that I can't interpret the polls? I said no such thing. I said the polls are generally misinterpreted. As a matter of fact, in my presentation, I lauded you as the most known and respected pollster in the country, if not the Caribbean. I said no such thing. Because he has been doing it since I was a young man, right? So I'm not going to just rush it. This time around, well, as a matter of fact, I said to him, to you can help with cleaning up the misinterpretation. When you give your client the numbers, why not just do a column about the numbers, right? So people can see an official interpretation. He said, well, people are going to say what they want. That's not true. I always dare any of the sites to come and talk to me and tell me otherwise. When my idol was alive, Professor Carl Stone, he chased them all away. If you talk nonsense, him run away. Right? So as the researcher, as the poster, you have the responsibility to set the record straight. So if I never catch it, I can go to the column that I recommended that he should do.
Yes.
So we just give them, and then some of my colleagues, sometimes we can be arrogant and we can be very crude. So some of my colleagues talk about CXC journalists, right? And all kind of other things, right?
Yes.
It's because of their frustration with interpretation from some journalists, some, not all, because I have journalists in my orbit where when I want to clarify things, I go to them. They're very good.
Yes.
But that expertise is not diffused widely in the profession. So you have a lot of misinterpretation. I remember one morning, well, on a particular station, if I said the station, you're going to know the program. I just said, young man, this is basic primary school maths. Right? So I was saying to him, if I have $49 and you have $51, you have significantly more money than me. Him said no. Then how, if the poll said 49, 51, the 51 is way ahead? And he couldn't see it. The station employed him.
Yes.
And then I felt bad because I will talk harsh and unstrong because I had to survive a mother whose love for me wanted me not to become a gunman. So she stand up tough and you have to be strong. And then you can't weak in those communities. They eat your food. So I will talk strong, but I'm approachable. I'm not going to willingly undermine anybody. So my goal at the time was to ask the poster to just set the record straight. Him said no, I said fine. Right? And that is why people like me tend to get into contention because we speak, or in psychology we say, we express the authentic self. The truth that is inside, the truth, not my truth.
Yes.
The truth, because there's an objective way to measure it. That is inside, we say it, and it comes out in our behavior. Very few people have an authentic self, especially when they speak publicly. They are watching who will be vexed, who will be upset. And that is why the JLP was vexed with me in 2016. But when my model showed that they were going to win in 20, they were excited. So I have a track record of being professional and fair.
Yes. So when it showed them that, them excited, but them vexed.
Yeah.
So
I know that.
yes.
I don't take it seriously. It's part of the push and pull.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So, but I expect, and my students can tell you, the first time I was doing modeling, because we don't, although I do for clients, I build statistical models, and I was young in 2016, right? And when it comes to integrity, I don't have anything else except that. So the lead student I couldn't find her for some time. And I said, where you are with my data? And I went verbally crazy. You know what that means? Colorful language. Because she was very honest, but I wanted to ensure that the data did not fall in anybody's hand. That should not be seeing the data until we said what we were going to say. Right? Also, for that early time, I had politicians on both sides look at my data. Right? Because I was learning and I fine-tuning both sides.
Yes.
And they run out and Ray. Right? I just ignore them. So I've shown that the corruption poll, wrongly interpreted, the polls about job and the findings about job and the poor. Well, it's not the corruption poll, it's the findings, poll findings on corruption, wrongly interpreted. The poll findings on jobs and the poor, wrongly interpreted. The performance of the leaders and the party, well, the government opposition and the two leaders, the poll findings were wrongly interpreted. The leaders are doing much better than what was reported on television, right? And they are very close, which signaled to me early that that the race will be close, right? All right. So let's go to the poll that you showed first. I can give this context.
All right.
Okay.
So let me ask the question now. Which party would you vote for if election were called today?
Mm-hmm.
And this, the PMP, and that. So PMP, that you don't call that a landslide still. That have 25.4%.
Yeah,
But,
all right.
yes.
So I've always said that the voting behavior, or how do we say it again? I'm going to use the political science jargon. Voter preference is relatively stable, meaning that the preference of voters will not change drastically in a short while. So, right? And this is common across the world. Because the voters are fickle, you know.
Yes.
They are long-term thinkers and they look at things and they assess and so on. So look at the September 2024. You see 30.2 for the JLP in September 2024, what it is in January, February 2025. 30.7.
Yes.
So the People's National Party, 39.3, now 35.4. Right?
Yes. But let me ask you something though.
But I don't want to lose this point.
Yes.
To drop a few points. So you're not going to see major shifts over short periods of time. So I always laugh when I see people spending their money last month, the next 2 months, the next. You don't understand and you're actually wasting your money. But the polls won't tell you that. Voter preference don't change quickly. In a situation like an election year, it would be good to track over a short period of time because we're getting close to the election, and that's understandable. But generally, voter preference. So you don't need more than 2 polls every year. Right? You see, we tend to follow the Americans, but the population is large, countries large, and you have different countries, and you have city level, state level, federal, swing, and everybody doing different polls, you know, to tap into different constituencies. So I understand that. And the Americans are very numerate and they want to understand trends and so on. But in a small society like Jamaica, like everywhere else, voter preference is relatively stable. It's not going to change quickly in a month or 2 unless something major happens in the polity or in the body politics, as others would say. Yeah, you wanted to say something.
All right. So I don't have the problem with ongo thing me I ask you though. If I am a voter and so the 39%, I noticed the JLP though, them don't move. Not even move like 1 point up. Same 30, just be them not go like 31, 20.
Yeah, that is true.
Right? Them more stuck or more and go down or some them now move. with
All right.
all the things them with the Prime Minister do, or what them say, and all the promises, them stuck.
Mm-hmm.
It show you, and them tell you if something called no, PMP have a sweep, right? Sweep out, right? But
All right.
one thing we just want, question. The this one is what? Uncommitted. Uncommitted because 39, and I like the PMP, go down like 3 point or something, and then it go to the JLP. Because they've made it say, I vote for the PMP 6 months ago, and then me say me uncommitted. Why don't make me uncommitted? Because the government
It's uncommitted. The point crossed by the PNP now went back to the uncommitted. Look at
uncommitted. But why me that? But what me I ask you? Why me that? Can me now go to the JLP? Can me see what them I do? Me they have them there for 2 term and what have you? Why me that say? I'm go and look. Me wanna do that. But anyway, me leave the polls.
No, it's an interesting observation that they didn't go to the Jamaica Labour Party. They went back to the.
That me I ask why can't them no move? Them stuck.
Very, very interesting point. And
You understand?
and
Because
when they
them,
don't go back to the when they don't go to the government, that's a signal.
that is it.
That's
Because
a
go
signal.
there and me
There's
say,
other things you need to look at, but that's a signal. A small signal, but still a signal.
it's a signal.
That's worthy of note.
Yes, that's
When
already right.
When you take the PNP's current lead, January, February 2025, and the JLP's popularity, and you do the margin of error, you're left with 1.7, right? So, and you're running it off the 2. So the PNP is 2 percentage points ahead outside of the margin of error.
Yes.
Right? I have to be fair. I'm one person who always quarrel that people don't use the margin of error, but that's the first thing I do is take away, right? And when the rate is close, I normally just do the minus.
Yes.
2%, right? And then take what is remaining to be on the safe side. You will notice that the PNP is ahead by 2%.
Yes.
How can we interpret margin of error, right? When difference is within and outside. If, for example, when you look at the party standings, sometimes the margin of error is for the JLP, sometimes for the PNP, sometimes it's within the margin. Sometimes the margin of error is favors the JLP by a few points. Outside the margin of error, sometimes it favors the PNP by a few points. Outside the margin of error, it's a ding dong, and sometimes it falls within. Then that race will be harder to call. However, and this is something that I discuss with the top forecasters in the world.
Yes.
And I know my colleague, one of them, will vex with me because I said the top posters and model builders for elections are in the US, right? So I attend that meeting. If you see a positive number, a few points, consistently outside of the margin of error, giving one side a lead, small nevertheless, but it's consistent, right? So you can look at if you want to use the popular vote for local government elections, although we know the C count to use, but the PNP winning the popular vote was very important in terms of what it told me.
Yes.
Right?
Because
And then now, the poll since then, except Blue Dot,
yes.
which is lost, it's a dot that I can't find.
No, when I find it neither in a green, I'm not color transparent.
Right?
Yes.
So I take blue to mean sad. So it is sad because they have to establish themselves as reputable pollsters for at least for me to take them seriously.
Yes.
Right? So when your margin of error, when your lead is a few percentage points positive outside the margin of error, over time, that's a good signal. So what I'm saying here, the race is closing in, but it's a good signal for the PNP. Why? Because there are usually a few points right? Ahead outside of the margin of error. And I'm saying outside of the margin of error because I'm the one who always quarrel and say not taking the margin of error into
I
account.
can ask you now, even if you take with that, the marginal error for them could have got 33, but them could have got 27. The one, the JLP. Could have
Yes,
got
if you do the plus or minus, it can go
plus or
up
minus.
or down, but because the race is close,
Yes.
I tend to be on the cautious side by doing the minus only. Right?
Yeah.
Also, if you look at the trend before, in Jamaica, in 2007 and 2016, right? The election was very close, right?
Yes.
All right. When the election is close, on those two instances, the opposition won. Right?
Yes.
It is these things are what we know elsewhere, you know.
Yes.
So the PNP lost in 2011, 2016.
Yeah,
Opposition won when the race was close. Because once the government's popularity starts to sag, even a close race,
the opposition won. Yes.
it tends to favor the opposition, but it's not a done deal.
Yes, but
But
I can tell you, maybe just tell you, this is a
opposition,
good and done deal because this a prime minister have too much problem and too much baggage. And I can't tell him because we have people.
but the PNP, given
Yes.
where it is coming from, right, is a massive comeback. Right? Massive comeback.
The PNP make a good comeback, right? Because they've never done nothing.
Massive comeback.
Massive.
Where they are now slightly ahead, and I'm saying slightly ahead.
Yes.
Because it's 2 points ahead outside of the margin of error.
Outside. No, you have to make
outside. So no, they are 2 points. So they are really ahead by 2 percentage points.
Yeah, by outside of the margin of error, you know, people.
Yes.
Because if you put them in the margin of error, you know, you don't call it a statistical time.
Let me go back to you. Let me take you back to somewhere where I started. Or remember I told you about the 5-point scale and the obsession with the negative on this side and the positive, and you're comparing party, negative and positive, and ignoring the middle, which was average, which was also positive.
Yes.
And I told you I did it that way, I realized that the race was close. Here is the evidence. So for the pollster, this poll finding that is interpreted correctly contradicts the positive-negative confusion that was thrown on the public last week.
Then continue showing that. Maybe, no, but my reading to that, right? Maybe, you know, because it depends on who, you know, commission you to do the poll. And then,
No.
The radio station
I'm going to defend him. I'll criticize him. That's all.
No, that's the radio station because of them. You're at the TV station.
No, but go ahead.
Them come with, right? And maybe them now ruffle enough feathers, so them just maybe them interpret it or you know without. Yes.
Well, I'll tell you what my suspicions are. Jamaica is a small society. Very few of us will have hold political views, and we don't let it color how we operate. Depending on how the poll is interpreted by a journalist, I can tell you which party they are supporting.
Yes, that's all right. But the same thing with us attack. That's what I'm saying.
Not the pollster, you know.
No, not the pollster. Me talk them.
The pollster has integrity. I'm just not comfortable with some of the ways that he interpreted the performance of the government and the opposition and the opposition leader and the prime minister, because he took points away from them unnecessarily by focusing on negative and positive, rather than focusing by adding the average scores in the middle of the answer choice to very good and very good, which indicated to me that the race was close.
Yes.
Because he would now have to explain why that confusion and this is negative and positive, and then today, what do we have? And it's not because the poll finding that today that was published agrees with what I'm saying. It is consistent with how I've interpreted the poll based on how I was taught at the primary school, KC, the University of the West Indies, the City University of New York, and Columbia University. So I know what I'm talking about, right? So my interpretation is consistent across time. So the PNP is ahead 2 points outside the margin of error. So, right? So they are ahead. They are not 2 points within the margin of error.
Yes. Somebody
I remember I was conservative
yes.
in that because I interpret the race to be very close long before other people, I only used the -3%. So I took it off, right? My more generous colleague would say, no, you could add 3, and then it's 5%, right? But I want to be on the safe side. But
But I can say something to them though.
Mm.
You know, although you see, we should say over the year, over last year, because I watch vote and not just the poll. Because that's the right thing when people come out and vote. February, then them do a by-election, so them launch now with everybody spend money in a sentence, them flap. You know, the PNP in a contest, the guy gonna say, I get 10,000. 2 o'clock or 3 o'clock, I'm going to get 1,800. Then the rest are history. If him get 4,100. Him under and over 40,000 people. How much percent him get? Him don't even get 5% good, I don't think so. Right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
4,000. So him get 5% good.
So
5%
people come to me.
and then them have a next by-election in October 4, and the two with the PNP, them wipe out. When them say, I win everything, them the money spend, do everything, and then they see them green that poll, they come out and say, well, them are going to win, and if election call, and them wipe out. Right? And then, Nigel Clark, film thing they get vacant, and the guy who run, that is Smith, 1,800.
Yeah.
Nobody never look on it.
So what am I saying? I'm a lone crusader, like John the Baptist, a lone voice crying in the wilderness. That you are being consistently misinterpreting the polls.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Right? And in terms of how the performance of the Prime Minister and opposition leader and the government opposition or the pollster tallied and interpreted it, I am, I am ashamed. Right? I just don't understand why that was done. I take it that was an error because I know it's a man of integrity.
Yes.
But in these matters, you can't make those kinds of mistakes.
As I said before, maybe no feather must up, no feathers.
No, we have no evidence that he's into that.
No, not him, but who are read it and interpret it for them way and all kind of things, because some of them just full of colors, so them just have it and somebody.
So my message tonight is that the polls have consistently been misinterpreted, right?
Yes.
And all the poll findings have been, and I've clarified them. And where things are now, it's a close election race with the People's National Party 2 percentage points ahead outside of the margin of error.
So I could tell you,
with their lead over time. It sagged a bit between last September and now, but they are still a few points ahead outside of the margin of error.
No, but that, because I'll say something to you again. Because even when they, them stuck, the JLP stuck right there from last year to year stuck. And then if you take the 3% in point, plus or minus, can go minus out of the margin of error, then it happen. Because I'm more feel them and go back. Them not get, because if you have a government, go this show me, you have a government, and them do everything out of 3 election, 4 by election in October, September, and you see the kind of thing that come down upon them, the key what them do. Them come with the road work, spark, them come with this, them come with that, them give back this, and them don't grow 1 inch. Not a percentage point. It's the trouble with these people, And if you take the margin of error out, can minus or plus, right? 30, you take out, you go up
But
to,
I want you follow me now, because after when you're going to stop coming, you're going to understand it.
yes,
When the race close, on the safe side, just do the minus.
you go to the minus.
Yeah, when it's over 5 points,
Yes,
you can put on the plus. But once it's under 5,
you go to the minus.
you can do the minus, right?
Yeah,
So those are my ways to make sure I speak responsibly. It's still a close
yes,
race, but the advantage now is with the opposition,
yes,
right?
yes. And them stop them not growing none at all though.
Who not grow?
The government not growing none at all.
Or you mean in terms of the numbers?
Numbers, them stuck. And the care with them do everything with them, kitchen sink. Them do the most promises,
Mm.
Them send people to the promised land. Me think them are Moses also. Them the amount of promises, the amount of thing with them do, and it's them it
Well,
moves.
that is expected in an election here. As I told you last time, we call it the political business cycle, where that's in election year you start to dole out goods. But I keep telling politicians that the voter look at what you have done over the 5 years,
And though it's 9. It's
right?
even worse. 9.
Well, remember the JLP won in 2020, so the cycle restarted, and so
Yes.
the assessment
Yes.
is for the 5 years.
Yes.
And so the people are using that and not what you do in an election year. They're not fools.
People not stupid. Them
No.
can't trick people again. No, we know
I've
that.
said it before.
Yes.
No matter how much big school we go, how much education we have, when I go to my people that I grew up with and them start to talk, I have to shut up with them. Right? So I have all the big research and the big degrees and all them things. But they understand the ground and it's them teach me. I have to listen. So understanding what the people think is very, very important nowadays. You don't need a PhD or a bachelor's or a master's to understand how the economy is treating you. You're experiencing it.
Of course.
You don't need to be educated to experience the economy. It's impacting your life. You don't need a degree. You also know who promised what and has not delivered. Right? I was interviewed by one of the major newspapers and gave some explanations as to why the race is close. I'm not going to speak to it now because, excuse me, they haven't published a story yet, right? But it will be out soon if they do publish, and that's their prerogative, right? So so my role tonight was to clarify and to how the misinterpretation and the polls have been consistently misinterpreted, right?
Yes.
So I am shocked because if we can't get basic mathematics right, how are we going to solve the complex problems that beset us in Jamaica?
Mhm.
So I had a big verbal bust up with a younger colleague this week. Nothing bad, it's just sometimes me go a little bit up on the corner. Right? So but me don't mean nothing because I call him and channel him to other people who want to hear things and him go do him interview. But things like we can agree to disagree to me is nonsense. Or your truth and my truth. Something is either truthful or not based on the scientific method.
Thank you. It can't be your truth and my truth. Thank you.
There are
Yes.
no alternative facts. It's either facts. And I hear people who supposed to know better saying it to them. So I always say to that younger colleague, it's not about we can agree to disagree. I'm either right or wrong, and if I'm wrong, then show me the evidence. I don't want to hear about agree to disagree. right? I want evidence. I remember a young lady from a non-traditional high school, right? One of those where, when I was going to high school, it was a secondary school, and I was among the dreadful and terrible. Since the re-upgrading, they have started to get some of their kids into the University of the West Indies. And maybe she didn't understand the university process and understand me. So I asked the class, why do you agree with me? And she said the wrong thing. Sir, because it says so, you are the teacher. Really, I'll know me not stop cuss. Do you ever get upset? I don't want you as my student to accept what I say. Right? I must put evidence to you.
That's it.
That's it.
Evidence. Yes.
Evidence.
Yes.
So when you are telling me that you agree, you must have evidence or reasons. Because some of you don't have evidence, but you can reason logically.
Yes.
A reasoned position as to why you agree with me. Because I tell them, I might make mistake and I want you to be confident to correct me.
That's true.
Right? So I'm not into the alternative truths. I'm not into the agree to disagree, either right or wrong, based on the scientific method. Right? And polls are easily interpretable. Right? I understand some of my colleagues, especially the ones who were here before me. They're some of the brightest people at the University of the West Indies, right? You can hold their own anywhere around the world. And many of them don't speak publicly. I know sometimes they are sorry for me because they think I'm wasting my time. Because they have been hearing the nonsense for a very long time. And while they don't come out publicly and speak like I do, they talk to the newspaper, because they know the people. They talk to the parties, they talk to this, they talk to that. Same thing. And once one says something, everybody else runs with it. So a young journalist called me from one of the TV stations. Professor Charles, can you come on tonight? We'd like you to speak on the reason why most Jamaicans are not interested in the work of the Integrity Commission.
Well,
I said, I didn't say any such poll. Where did you see that poll findings? The largest out of the share out of the 100% is 57%. They didn't give an opinion. And not giving an opinion doesn't mean that they don't have one or that they are indifferent.
oh my God.
Only a minority, 20%.
You see that though?
The view of the Integrity Commission. Oh, that's why I call you. So no, that's not why you call me. They call me the wrong thing.
But you think
you want me to, but I was so busy because I'm doing many things this semester. So I couldn't go. So one of the young ones who is very good, I said, call so and so, and I call him and so link the woman there, right? Because even though you come with the foolishness, I'm not talking because that's how we stay. We talk.
Yes.
Yeah, man, we talk, Me say me don't know how Gaza man them over Portmore and beat me up. Because when them just suck off cartel, me I talk over there and say them shouldn't kill lizards. I wish madman this, right?
Yes.
So one of the time, me raise my voice to one of the big man in West Kingston, right? That's after them gone, right?
Yes.
Whatever communication, all my son, me should do so.
Yes.
Right? So we have to go down and go talk to one of the legend who are coming from 78 Peace Treaty. So sometimes we're out on our own and we talk, but we make amends. But the thing is, we are going to speak the truth. And sometimes we're looking forceful and sometimes we have to pull it back. But we're always going to speak the truth. We're not going to bamboozle the people.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, and teacher, I'm an artist still, you know. Right? Teacher, I'm an artist. I did teach, I'm an artist. It's just that because I always say there's no joy in killing. There's no joy. We have seen it. We have lived it. Right? So we never ever celebrate when there's a killing. And we're always speaking up against it. So that's the basis on which I was saying what I was saying in a Gaza land. It's not that I'm not rating DJ. We're rating talent. Right? So we're always going to speak the truth, and we're always going to be fair. And when we talk, if you don't like it, a time will come when we talk, the truth will suit you.
Yes.
Well, when the truth don't suit you, we can't switch. Because truth will be.
So let me say something now. So how is it that, these, because them not do really investigative journalism, and them not do nothing. Them just a reporter now. It's just, you say something and them report it to the people.
All right.
And them right? The journalists them now.
So I've been fortunate.
Yes.
That I've taught several journalists in Jamaica. You see, when we talk about media and police and crime, the soldier and police them teach me now. Right? And when I'm out there, my sister boy, them under pressure. Them can't do, because I used to ask them for, and I'm coming back to the journalist point, to come up with a crime plan, homicide reduction plan, a counter-terrorism plan, and then brilliant. Because me want them exercise them things, and me know that them use it for far enough things already, but them can't talk it because them still in the service. Right? And so we learn from them. And so some of your students, and those are journalists, are very good. But unfortunately, I don't think sometimes the media owners, the media managers pay sufficient attention. And in some instances, statistical thinking and reasoning is not common. Statistical thinking and reasoning is not common. It's something you have to learn. That's why you see I always mention my students. Why? Because I'm teaching them how to think, not what to think. I don't care about their views, whether they are atheists, whether they are religious, PNP, JLP, transgender, gay, lesbian. And I have a transgender student, one transgender student at Dewey, one of my brightest students. Right? So I'm not into telling you what to think. I'm teaching you how to think. And so unfortunately, some of our journalists do not have critical thinking skills. And you know how I know? You talk to the senior ones, and as you call them laugh.
Them is just reporter. So if you say you move the phone from here and then go over there, them just come and them just repeat that.
All right. So let me tell you,
yes.
One of the reasons why I mentioned the journalism students that I have taught over the years. One of them became president at one time. And I was complaining about I'm getting information, not news. So I started to call them press conference journalists. You go to a press conference, people at the press conference say, this is 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You report that Mr. X says 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If you don't check if it is so, you just report it. You don't answer the critical question about it when 5 is not more than 10. But Mr. X, for the last 3 years, I said 5 more than 10.
Yes.
You don't have Mr. X, how come film 5 more than 10?
And just report it.
In 5 again.
Yes.
Right? And so I had to say to my former students, and then I look at boy, I call them people the bigger man for me. So, it's press conference. I say, yeah, man, I think that they are press conference journalists. They just report.
But
not all of them, because there are some very good ones.
Yes, but Professor, What me say with these journalists? And them watch it too, because enough of them watch it. All right. Them not ask a question. Certain question you never hear them ask. Them just go there at the conference, as they say, and them just sit down. Them just take note, and that's what them report.
I keep saying it.
They do front of them neither, you know.
Yeah, I keep.
They come and say, oh, all right, for instance, them get BB minus ratings. But when you look at it, you say, hey, we don't want to let them money because food at risk. And the Prime Minister tell them how gloomy and a God that come and everything. And them repeat it.
Yeah.
But when you look at it,
what is bothering me?
Yes.
The problem is more than just some being part. Some of them parties are know, and that's why they do what they do. But there are others now who just clueless, right? And it is related to the CXE passes, the low passes in math and English. And if you're not doing well in those subjects, they are the foundation for your intellectual journey and development and growth. Right? So I say it again. If as a people we can't do basic mathematical calculations, how can we solve the complex problems that beset Jamaica? That is why we are underdeveloped, you know. That is why we not grow much, you know. That is why people like me who love up mouth can tell you that it's the same old since 1962. My father ran away from Jamaica. We couldn't, when they died, we couldn't even bury them in Jamaica. We had to bury them in the United States. They ran away, never want anything to do with Jamaica. Then the bad mouth Jamaica, you know. But how you see them run, and what them say when them are run about the conditions that they were in, and why they have to leave, right? So we have problems. And if you can't add up basic numbers, how are we going to solve those problems?
You can't add it. You cannot add it. Right? Cannot add it. And well, that's
what bothers me. What bothers me? You know, I remember one of my colleagues saying that a lot of Jamaicans are research illiterate. And one thing just said, you're so arrogant. But sometimes you have to push hard. What bothers me is these poll numbers, the misinterpretation, the political commentators have been repeating them.
Don't tell it with them.
Right? And when I say, if you call me a political commentator, you insult me, people will say, oh, he's arrogant. I'm not arrogant. Right? How can you be spreading nonsense, numeric nonsense, acting as your function as an enumerate, meaning that you're number illiterate, and you're spreading confusion and misinformation? Why would I want to come and sit with you and call myself a political commentator?
That's it. True.
Right? And here, so me talk to one of the big man them away, I have to go down to go talk to one of the legend from 78 Peace Treaty. So we don't really love this, but sometimes when you talk, it kind of too strong and you have to go pacify it.
So let me ask you something very important. So how is it that Green Dot poll come to for them conclusion the other day and said, them just show too much colors now, you know?
Because I have a lot of intelligence, you know, and where I grew up, you have ears all over and network.
Like myself, yes, man.
You're right?
Yes.
So I can share a personal experience, and my senior colleagues will tell me, oh, it's an anecdote. So it's just an anecdote I'm sharing. So somebody called me from Blue Dot, right, some time ago. and say I'm from Blue Dot, do the real introduction. I would like to ask you some questions. And them start with the question. I'm going to say, young lady, the question can't ask, so that don't make no sense. Right? It don't make no sense. And what was disappointing, when I told her that we should ask, it don't make no sense, she started to ask the right questions. What that told me, that at least for that young woman, she knew what to do, but she wasn't doing it. You remember I told you that before the pandemic, I used to be in West Africa.
Yes.
All right. And I gave you the case of a Muslim girl collecting data from me in Accra, Ghana, in Nima. That I'm in Nima, long before, and I go and walk around. I don't know the Muslim man thinks that boy, me a spy or me a CIA. And then when I asked if she's in Nima, she said yes. And I said, meet by the primary school, by the big tree. I'm in Nima. Suddenly, some major event, tragedy at home, she had to go back home immediately. So I canceled the data. The doctor didn't use the data. Right? My hostess, who was a Sunni Muslim, was sorry for her because not what she was telling, but something else occurred when she had a debt. And she said, oh God, man, just contribute some money to her. And I fine. But I couldn't use it. So we have our own checks in them. I can ask you to do something in Canada. And I have my people them a watch to see if you are doing it. So what I do know from my intelligence is that the company, the people, and I stand corrected, they can call me and correct me. The people doing it have no training in survey research and polling, right? But they are good marketers, and I have no problem with them marketing. So the intelligence suggests that and they can call me and correct me, suggests that when they get a poll, they subcontract it. So I have people who work with me, and sometimes I bring on new people because I know what they are doing on the ground. But I've been doing this for decades in terms of the kind of research and all the things. So I know I can supervise. I can tell you when something is wrong without being in the field with you. And we have our checks and balances. So what the intelligence have revealed, and they can correct me if I'm wrong. I will say I'm wrong and provide evidence otherwise. That when they get work, it is subcontracted. But the person who's doing the subcontracting is not adept at what needs to be done. So you're relying 100% or 80% on the people you subcontracted to, and that's a recipe for disaster.
Oh.
So my idol, Carl Stone, and I know one of my brethren from Uwi, Robert Lockman, looking on now and laughing because he can do it as well. Carl Stone, if you brought a question here to him, within 2 seconds, he can tell you if something's wrong. After you have been reading for a while, you can just look at the question here and know. Right? And good posters, checks and balances in place. Right? Right. I just give you a crude one like in Africa, but that I use, but there are a range of ways to verify. So you have to know the thing. You have to know. Once you have done it before, you know. So what I know is that some people who are contracting, right, they don't have the skills and rely totally on others. So they have to report what they get. And sometimes they go to other people and say, can you interpret this for me? Can you this? Can you that?
But what me ask you again, but
Let me give you a joke. One of the political parties had asked me to do a poll. And them said my money too big. And the money not big enough. It's not big. It was much less, but they do a credible thing. You know, you have to pay. If you want good data, you have to get good people.
yes.
Right? Them say the profits are too expensive.
Yes.
So them go to the Eastern Caribbean and get a man. Right? Right?
Yes, yes.
Man about Jamaica. And the person who them give the person with them contract, that person who's non-Jamaican with them get the poll to, with them contract, subcontract it to one of the chief strategists of the rival political party. So when the results came in, you know, so we have our ears on the ground. When the results came in, I mean, all feelings if you don't want to use me, but good. But when I see people are bamboozling you, I'm going to tell you, it's me tell them, say, are you rival, are your enemy do the poll? So let me give you an example. So we have had by-elections for many years now, but in a by-election, when the poll results came, the party was told that it was leading in that constituency. When it wasn't, but because the person is from the rival party, right? They gave to their rival that on a leading. When a film party are leading them, but him don't want them to trick them.
Oh, because they don't want them put in the work.
Yes.
Yeah, because of that, you see, right? That's all. When you talk critical thinking, yes.
So
Yes.
So I usually say I want people to make as much money as they can. I tend not to jump in and so make your money. But the level of ignorance about what ought to be done and what constitutes good science leaves much to be desired in Jamaica. Right? Leaves much to be desired.
But
Right?
all the while, though, with the green dot poll, it always, I don't know how or why, no care who them, subcontract it out to. It always have the JLPL leader when it now.
Well,
Last year at the 3 election, said them
well,
and 3 of them.
I had asked that question last week when I was on your program.
Yes.
That they should tell us because I don't have all the polls in my head and I will miss things. So I asked them last week and I'll ask again. Have they ever done a poll in Jamaica, what we call pre-election poll in the forecasting world? Have they ever done a pre-election poll where the Jamaica Labour Party is not tied or ahead of the PNP? Is not tied with or ahead? Or other way, have they ever done a poll in Jamaica where the Jamaica Labour Party is behind outside of the margin of error?
Yes.
So I'm waiting on them to tell me. Right? I don't know. Right? From what I know, no. But I don't think I've seen all the polls. So I'm waiting on them to respond.
But you just say something to me, and you use that example. When them think it's good, them doing for the Jamaica Labour Party, it more do bad because them feel when them come with a poll, we call it bogus, we call it go-go poll, go-go poll where them spin pan, not real poll. When you come with a poll like that, them said maybe them are re-energized base. But what them don't know the danger about that now because that I make the PMP work harder. Because you show them, say, hey, with them they're behind, meanwhile I really the JLP they're behind. So you come with the liar poll, and I collect the party money. I collect the money.
Well, if people want to give their money to people, that way. It's their
It's
right.
okay. They not touch somebody, not trick nobody, It not trick nobody. That trick themselves.
Well, there's
Yes.
a that polls change voters.
Yes.
Voters, think about it. Which voter is going to say, I'm not voting for my party, I've been suffering for 5
Yes.
years, I'm not voting
Mm-hmm.
because the polls say,
So yes, the
"Well,
post is so many have vote.
I've been suffering like others for the last 5 years." Who does?
Yes.
So we
Nobody
know
does
that
that.
the polls will have some effect, but it's not so significant and huge that we should worry.
No.
Remember, I told you that the polls, one of the constraints that the polls move are the funders.
The funders.
The funders, but the funders are not fools, Not because the funders don't have a big degree like our parents. They are not fools. To run a successful business, you have to be smart.
Yes, because them it move and them need
Right?
party
So a lot of people think that businessmen are
funders.
they're not fools. I mean, they think we are, because them say book learning, right? As if we buy in a book, we grow in a book, we sleep in a book.
Yes.
Right? We hear it and we laugh, but they're not fools.
The votes are not fools.
They know when things are turning, because them workers, them hear people attack on the street, them family attack, them hear the workers, they're not having enough pool.
But in them head, me I say, a matter of fact, these are the first kind of a radio station. Me see, I tell the government say, listen, go to Belmont Road, get out every plate you laugh. Believe me, get out all the workers because you're draining. Your political career draining. So you need to get everybody on the road fast because you lose. They can't believe that radio station.
Let me respond to that.
Eh?
Let me respond to that. I've said repeatedly
Yes.
to political parties that the campaign don't start when the election call.
Yes.
The campaign is a 5-year thing.
Yeah, yes. Not couple months to election.
Or 1 month or 6 weeks. It's a 5-year thing.
Yes.
Right? If you wait until you're behind to start pull your socks off, you don't respect the people.
Yes, yes.
You don't respect the people, if you have to wait until you're trailing in the poll, right? Before you're pulling your socks up and you're mobilizing troops and you're sounding, the alarm, and reading the right act. No, you're supposed to be vigilant.
Yes.
Working for the people, testing the waters, sounding, and act accordingly. You don't wait until you're behind.
But the biggest thing though, you don't want to use PR and treat the people them not. Remember now, we're in a computer age. And at one time when we used to go like K-Sun bus and it take me like 5 hours to reach a Moran Bay just from downtown. 5 hours. It take very reach, because it drives slow. Them hardly crash. Because them drive slow on the kind of road and everything. But them are reach, you're sure, you're reach, right? And I like them time that when we in a digital age, every little thing people look through it. Something happen in Westmont and people see it right away, If it's an accident, there are police, everything you see same time, It up online. So you see it in a real time. So you can't trick people now. People hungry around there, so hungry in every parish, you're going to see it. Something happen, you see it. You understand? So they're like, you have to drive and send a telegraph, if you know what going on, you see it in a real time. And at this, the politicians, them don't understand.
All right, so
yes.
I have faith in the Jamaican voters. They are more sophisticated than the American voters. You can spread misinformation in any country, but because Jamaica is small and people are observant, and word of mouth is still the biggest social media platform. Lived experience is still is equally big with word of mouth as social media platform. So people are aware. Of course, they might not understand some things, but you can't trick them. But what is happening though? The misinterpretation of the polls. Some people say strategic misinterpretation. Some people say deliberate. Some people say disinformation, where you give the wrong information deliberately to
Yeah.
influence behavior and outcomes.
Yes.
That can happen, right? But you'll notice what I'm saying here. You won't hear it in most other places.
That's true.
And political commentators won't be saying it.
No, because them jump on it, you know. Because them want to spread that or hear it and say, yes, that. But yes, still, it still come and say, if them ask if this call today, them say, oh, I vote for PMP now. Or with them, I vote for PMP. And them sister the JLP is stagnant. Right? Stagnant. It's not good. I mean, if you're a ruling party and you come up and you say, hey, 45 billion road project, you never get the people them the road over the 9 years. So the people them tired of you. Enough of them crash and dead, enough of them mother dead. You know the pandemic, enough people have to pay 200,000 for mask. Then you have the Prime Minister, no, him statutory declaration cannot be certified. 4 years going now, 4 years. From 2021. Right? And then you have the SSA. Then you have enough of the money we're gone from 600,000 barrel of oil, over $5 billion worth of oil gone from Petrojam. We know, you know, and then all of the corruption, you have world greed same way. You have the one, the Speaker of the House, them going to charge her 900,000 and do so much million. I wonder if she pay it back. Right? And she mislead and tell lie. And then so much of them in a one party, in a one government. No. People tired of this. Cost of living gone straight through the roof. People can't buy food. Nothing. You can't get it from this. No care what you do. You can't get it. You can't treat the people again. You know what some people tell me? Remember with the music. I'm there on the road, you know, for years. They're on the go. Some people tell me, that's a way to when them call it. I mean, I'm not chatting with him, you know. No chatting. The man around 473 million and all now. You don't go hear some people bad mind, him have money. And him invest. Yeah, but where the money you invest, you make so much money, I run so much money and super. Yeah, come on now. Yeah? And then you talk about feedback, fear, and all kind of things. Better play this, you. I want to play a little smartly. Hear this. Hear this.
The Prime Minister, his cabinet, his political operatives at Belmont Road, and his network of Labour Party supporters across the country, they need to get to work fast. Political support for the government is draining away. It's hemorrhaging. The Holness administration is now faced with its biggest political crisis since coming to power.
No, me think if you have a radio station, them are so concerned that them are telling us to go up a bell road, the whole I want to forget to get to work. Like you can't trick the people them with this. Get to work with what? What this? And then I think radio station that keep on a neutral level and work comfortable. But them wanna know. I tell we don't need to go do this because it's not draining, you know. We don't get the people them out there. Go tell them some lies. Give them some more promises. That's on a radio station. That's work, man. You understand? That don't make no sense to me. In a way,
Yeah. And that is why some MPs, they're very difficult to beat because they work over 5 years. They don't work when the campaign starts, they are cruising. Right? And the others don't tend to learn from those long-standing MPs. They don't learn from a Fenton Ferguson. They don't learn from a Carl Samuda. Right? Rather than understand them and watch them. They don't have a lot of money, you know, but they have presence and they can get things done for their constituencies within the limitations of Westminster. I mean, Fenton Ferguson was so good, he was called a 5-star general.
yes.
Right?
Yes.
In my civil service years, as a senior civil servant, I worked with him in the ministry. And so you can watch people who serve over the years. Right? And if you follow them, you'll realize that election campaign is icing on the cake. We have to bake the cake already before the election call. I don't know how better to say it, but they'll tell me, Because sometimes them tell me, "Cho, you're a professor, man. Go back up and you with the book knowledge."
Yes.
So yeah, man, them mock me all the time, man. And I must say, I've experienced aggression, but there are some where, you know, they see it as a job, and it's nothing personal.
Mm. But no, I see them start get out. Even with the Spark program, let me just draw from my phone. Let me show you something quick on the Spark, right? This is the Spark program now, and this is how them do it. This is how them do it now. Them put up the, that them take the voters them for idiot now. Just look at this. Let me try it up and you look at this picture. I'll just show you a quick picture right here. Them unbelievable sometimes, But just look at this picture now. Them take voters for idiot. So you have a Spark picture, Spark, and right away this turn a political thing to E.I. Clark. That's an EY and an ER Clark. See there? Road construction notice. That's why I remember in a member of parliament don't build road. Not in
Right. So let's address that, because I was the old. I remember sometimes I feel like John the Baptist.
Yes.
Voice crying in the wilderness. I'm the only one, as far as I know, saying publicly that job descriptions can't work. That's a farce. Members of Parliament under Westminster, their legislatures, they are engaged in passing laws
Thank you.
implementing their constituents. And that does not include building road, building school, building bridge,
That's it.
feeding children, building dams, clearing drains, patching roads. Why? Look at the system. Look at Australia, look at Jamaica, look at New Zealand, look at England. It is central government, it's the ministries that are tasked with these things to build education, build school, roads and work, NWA build road, Ministry of Health build a hospital, works and whatever, build bridge, all of these things. So the MP, who doesn't have much money, only 20 million that they get since Bruce Golding came with the Council Development Fund. They don't have much money, and they have to lobby the ministries to get things done, right? So if you don't have the money, you can't hire a fire civil servant, you can't pay them, you have no control over them. So how you get a job description? How am I going to hold you accountable?
But I'm very absent.
And what was interesting,
Yes.
otherwise intelligent people, right? Some of them would teach me to remain silent as everything is possible. It's not possible. Civil servants, those who are tenured, right? They are permanent. And the reason why they are permanent is because you don't want politicians to be able to just come and just fire them. And for that permanence, civil servants under Westminster are expected to be neutral.
Yes.
You don't take side, no matter what your view is.
Don't take side.
You don't take side. When I was a civil servant, I talk to anyone, politician or not, as long as I'm not violating the Official Secrets Act. Because you're a citizen. That's how I operated from when I was a young man. Right? So there are times when the minister in charge fire out and get vexed, but what can I do? I'm working for the people of Jamaica. I'm not hiding nothing from nobody. It is a directive from the permanent secretary that don't speak on it. I'm not going to speak on it. Otherwise, I'm going to be sharing information. Right? So the issue is the MPs have sold the people the platform that they can. Right? So, and then now they have to lobby the ministries. So what happens in, say, England, Australia, New Zealand is that the ministries are more efficient. So what the winner of this election has to do, and if the trend continues where the PNP continues to lead outside the margin of error, they will form the next government. they have to ensure that the ministry become efficient in terms of implementation, and you solve the problem.
Yeah, them need to, yes, yes. But you
Right?
see this now with them that play, this, make I tell you something now, Professor, 'cause we are critical thinker. This right here,
Mm.
just to play a political thing to catch people again, political plight. Make I tell you why. This now them are 49 to the
Mm.
14. So the Prime Minister come up with now, make we use $45 billion and spark. Remember him saying now have no money for putting at this. Now have him say these things. Right? Can't get on debt. I have him saying these things. Just last year him say it. Can be like, pray him not hold him by him one word. And that's what the run yes, run the learning. That's why we have few of you as a professor on the learning channel around here. Cause them, yes. All right. So them are 49. So in our head, if we go round, remember them are talk about creating employment.
Mm.
Oh, you have 49 and you have the whole 63 constituency and you want to do road in night. Where I get people from if I just 3% of people not working. But I saw, like you have a man work for us one day and then put him down in my work for the whole year. Same work. And that is stupidness.
All
And
right.
next for them do,
All right. So, how the unemployment is measured. If you're not looking no work, you're not unemployed. If you don't look work and you're tired because you can't get work and you stop look, you're not considered to be unemployed because you're not looking.
so we have
If you're not looking to work because the salary too low,
yes.
you're not unemployed because you get work and you reject it. But earlier was this term, and I have to give thanks to my students. So
Yes.
years ago, when they come and say, Prof, I'm studying decent labor. I say, decent? What do you mean by decent? I'm studying decent, looking at decent wages rather, right? Because, you have to work with the young people, as them go out there and come with a new term from it, all right? So you're not getting a decent wage, right? So you don't want to work, or you're not interested because you have been looking for so long and frustrated, right? So unemployment globally is not measured with these things in mind. But in the Jamaican case, it is true that the numbers are low, but low skill job, the lowest of the low.
But you don't say something was very important though. So the people them that not working now, them just count them and say, hey, 4 or 500,000 an hour, but you not look no job.
So you're not
Some
unemployed.
restaurant job you don't want it. Me have a 1 day job for your chop bush that me say you work for the year, but you don't want it because it can't. So you don't want a job. So when I
Yeah.
go to the job force say you look a job. So we are talking about unemployment now, the people them that look job. But who that look it and never get it? And can't bother. You count them, you know bother count them neither because you say them now look a job. And then you say it low. But we have over half a million people still not work.
Mm.
Still can't them would have work, But let me tell you something, if you work for 1 day, but you have a youth them for skill go to school and I better you hustle and you get and sell to kiss or do something. But you have to look how you pay you, all right. If you work for $15,000 now, right? 15,000. Just look at the money, right? But you have to spend $2,000 for just one little. Me say mothers may have something with mothers with a little dry up dumpling and something, but them say a food that a joke.
Mm.
You spend you take 2 taxi go to work and 2 for come back, 150, right? So you spend $600 for go and come, $300 for go to work, $300 come back, plus 1,400, maybe 1,000, 1,200 can get a little food. We're not full of belly, but I just something to
So
stop.
you know why the economy not growing, and
Yes.
the experts who are economists, it's part of it is tied to the low wage because
Yes.
when we have money we have spent,
Yes. Another good economy.
right?
Canada spend
So,
more money, barber
so
shop, bar.
people still struggling.
Yes.
They are employed, but them still struggling. That's the additional one that create a
Yes.
low now because
Yes.
the wage very low. So we are happy that they are working, but we are saying to be truthful, the quality of life has not improved
That's
since
a work.
wages.
So let me just finish. Let me just finish a little thing now. So you are work this 5 day, you're 5 day, because you spend 2,000 a day now. Yourself. right? For your bus fare or your taxi fare and just a little box food and a drink. 2,000, 15 year work, you know. So for the week, you work 5 days, at a 10 grand come out of the money. But you have 2 you to go school or 3. But you have to find lunch money, plus you have to find them food right through the week. Oh, 5 grand run your house. You have to pay light bill and water rate too, you know. Oh, 5 grand. Because remember, you know, work 15, you work 5. Because you have to take out your boss here and everything. You know, work that. Yeah? That 5 grand alone, you see.
That points to the resilience of the poor and what we say ghetto people. Resilience. So the slice of bread. You look around on them.
Yes.
You can't get quarter, you can't get half, or you can't get quarter. You know. So they have developed ways and means.
Nutritious store.
No. And you buy coconut instead of condensed milk, and you get milk powder from father, and you share it. So it's the resilience of the poor, right? Rather than any economic transformation.
Because out of the 15, when we just tell you, 5 alone can come home. I have a skill for carry home that 5. But all the 5 take you for the next week.
Yeah, so they get some you have chicken box stew peas, you know.
Yeah, but much upon for chicken. What am I going to buy? I don't know.
Yes, so what I'm saying to you, and you know it, is that chicken back, you know, is not one family in the yard by it, you know. It's a chump up thing, you know.
Whoa.
And then stretch it now with the peas, you know. So when I say the resilience, it is the people who, because of the conditions in which they live, large numbers of people have to make bread out of stone, have to make something out of nothing. Right? So, and because Jamaicans are proud of them doing them thing, right? And we have not had one of those demonstrations now where the place locked down for a very long time. Right? You know, and it's never usually good in the sense because everything, days you can't work, you still can't go hustle, all kind of thing. So that has not happened. But the people, large numbers of people are not doing well. It is their resilience and the remittances.
Yes.
Right? So I'll give you a joke. So really and truly, you know, I live in the United States as well. Right? So I will call my childhood friends. So there were times I didn't know my Jamaican number. And them not answer. I hide from the number and I got too much people I beg them. So I text and say, me man, I'm saying, oh, I never know the number. Just the pressure for them to provide. Right? So you ask the family. So when my mother used to send barrels, right? We have instructions, you know. Who at church forget this? Who at the yard forget this? Which old lady forget this? You know why? Because of the conditions. And it's the same conditions that have worsened now.
Worsened now.
And so I have to lift my hat to the resilience of the Jamaican people because it is tough on the poor. Right? And I spoke to some friends recently. We have to be careful because those of us who grew up without anything and made something of ourselves, sometimes we forget what the people are going through because we can go here, we can fly here, we can do this, we can do that. We tend to forget. And all I'm saying is we have to be careful and we want better for Jamaica. We want the economy to grow in a very robust and thriving way. Not stop and start and all them thing and 2% now, 0 next year, negative, then 1%. No, we want
real growth.
Yes. Real right. Wow. Sustain.
And right now, all the man the economy, it's hard for you to kickstart something because if the real thing where you're working on people. You work for a week and I'm going back on it again, you know. It might have sound like 15 grand. But the real money where you are carry home, get for carry home, and then you have to ban your belly because you're hungry like that. See, maybe because you have baby mother or wife home. She look about the youth, them a go school, maybe can walk, maybe them have to take bus too. And you don't have the money, right? You don't have the money, but you work 15 grand. Minimum wage, 15. But out of that at 10 you have for you can't do no better, you know. Because you have even touched something and one little food like grand something. 1200, one little food, right? And then a little drinks, maybe you have to spend the next 2 days. So plus you have to pay your taxi fare. You know why you're not money or nothing. So out of the money there, although them say minimum wage, and if the Prime Minister run up and down, I know them so stupid. You have to take the 10 grand out of it. Just the 10 grand there for cover your expense. And I know say every business in Jamaica, me hear Grace I say them liabilities and everything, and when them done pay out everything what them do, them make what profit when you make. Because of no certain go, you know, when you put in something and when you have filed something, you tell about your liabilities and this and where you run off. But then people have 5 grand. What 5 grand can do for the whole 7 days till next week Friday? Can when you get it Friday, you know, next week, you have to make it serve. It's nearly like 8 card Friday to Friday, you count it 8. See? So you have to count it right on Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. You have to count the Friday, you know. Even if it's a 7, right? What you can do with 5 grand? If you have to take 1,200 to buy your food, what you can do with 5 grand? Throw on your house. Let's just start thief light. Just go catch water. Because you have to go string light. You have to go borrow light like what the Prime Minister said. And he proud of it. And minimum wage doing what? Can you not carry on 15,000?
No, well, I remember as a child, my mother cried when the minimum wage was raised by 100%. And I want, it's not going to happen before the election. I want the next Prime Minister to be bold enough to raise it by 100%. People say,
yes.
oh, if you raise it, it's not, they're not getting $100 US a week, you know.
No, less than that.
No, right? And a lot of the helpers are already working, doing days work, because they make more money that way. So the poorest of the poor, right, are okay, and the gardeners. So this thought that if you raise it, you know, you have to lay off people's nonsense. Well, you always use that nonsense. So the next Prime Minister I'm inviting to raise the minimum wage
to at least 30,000. Come in, I put it at 40, but well.
To at least 100% increase.
Yes, at least 30,000. Yes. Yes, I agree with that.
Right, and we need these kinds of things, right?
Yes, because you can't work with, and I'll say it again. Andrew, right now, I run with this. You know, minimum wage, it cannot do nothing. Yeah, when you look on a bell pepper and you buy it for $1,000 in a supermarket, come on now. Come on now. Right? It's a sin. Right? And I'll come back on this to the last time because we have around 7 minutes, you know. Nice up this, to finish up. But let me come up on this the last time. This, with them right here, it's a campaign, you know, campaign stupidness where them come with. Because these people don't fix road and nothing, you know, these people are legislator. And then you give them, when them compose up, them say them give you work. Remember, you know, you couldn't get the work in and them say 3%, you know, 3.5. But them have people in them constituency. If you see something in there right now, yes.
One of my knowledgeable friends told me that in the unemployment numbers, they are the youngsters who wipe your car glass.
Them are there, yes.
Right. Okay.
Hustlers.
Okay.
Yes.
I laughed when I heard it.
them downtown, the hustlers, the one them sell the donut because they're working. You know, hustlers. The one them will load the bus and them ad.
I talk to them all the time because there's a psychology behind it. If
Yes.
you wind up your glass, they assume you're afraid of them.
Yes.
And we're not afraid of people, so our thing down. So
Yes.
them always want to say, I say, a genius, because everything down, me not hide nothing. So me not let me afraid of you. So them always come and talk. I say nothing to them. Them say, all right, G. All right, Jenny. And we just move. But when I heard that they were included in the unemployment numbers, I mean, I'm still smiling now because it don't make any sense to me.
Yes, and that's true. If you work one day, all right, so you go down now, you call somebody to chop your bush, then them chop the bush, then put him down in work for the whole day. You call him from the 1st of January, you know. Remember my work for February, March, April, May, June, July, go right back, you know. One day work again, you know. But them put him down as him employed. Employed. For the whole year. One day.
So in the remaining minutes now, I'm going to just give a recap. So I came on tonight to show that the polls for a long time have been misinterpreted for a range of reasons. I'm not going to go over those reasons.
Yes.
But one, the poll findings about corruption, there's nothing in it which is saying that the majority of Jamaicans don't care about corruption. Right? 57% saying not giving an answer is not the same as not having an answer, or having no view, or is not is unconcerned about it. That response can't tell you those things. And only a minority of 20% had a negative view of the IC, Integrity Commission.
I mean, if a 20%, that means you have 80% have a view, say yes.
Right?
So you can, yes.
Right? Only 20%
have a negative,
but the majority is unconcerned.
And we know that 20% they come from, you know, because yes, you have that. Yes.
So if we go to the performance of the Prime Minister and the leader of the opposition, right? The negative positive interpretation fiasco last this week, or when it came recently, doesn't make any sense. For you to make sense of the performance of the Prime Minister and the opposition, right, and the opposition and the government, you have to add the positive in the middle, the average in the middle, with the good and very good to get their numbers. And you'll see that both of them are over 50%.
Yes.
And the Prime Minister is higher, unexpectedly so, because he has the reins of government and is doing more stuff. Right? Opposition can only do the parliamentary requirements. But the fact that both are over 50%, especially for the opposition leader in an election year, is a good sign for at least the PNP. The poll on jobs and the poor, the poll is not saying that the JLP is good for jobs and the PNP is good for the poor. The one half of that statement is incorrect. The incorrect part is that it's a statistical deadheat between the two parties in terms of providing jobs.
But the PNP now leading.
They are 7 points ahead. You take off your -3 to be on the safe side with the margin of error. It leaves 4. The PNP, in terms of taking care of the poor, is 4 percentage points ahead of the JLP.
Yes. In terms of taking and education and everything and health and everything, that's the PNP.
Finally, the poll that came out today, well, I was wondering why the findings were released today. Right?
Less people read. Let me tell you. Well, but before you say something though,
go ahead.
Less people read in the paper like on a Saturday. So them want, because through them do that, where them a push. Them want to push this, you know, say if you vote, who would vote for the PNP?
But somebody said to me this morning.
Yeah, but less people read it, so them push it for nothing. Yeah. Them know what them are doing now.
So the thing is,
yes,
the negative positive rating which wasn't making any sense,
Yes.
against the current standing, where when you take the margin of error into account, the PNP is leading by 2 percentage points outside of the margin of error.
Outside the margin of error.
That is what the poll today is saying.
Yes. Outside.
And
But they
so-
don't say that, you know.
No,
Yeah.
when I speak, they can come and we talk publicly, you know,
Yes. Yes.
right? Because I always interpret the polls the same way.
Yes.
I can't interpret the polls based on who is leading and who is not leading. If I don't want to talk, then I don't talk, but I'm not going to come and tell lie.
What them?
I'm
What
not
them?
lying.
Yes.
So the political commentators, at least they too, should school themselves in how these things are interpreted and don't rush off to spout the nonsense.
Right. No, they're not trying. As I said,
Because if you can't do primary school and preparatory school mathematics, or we can't do that well, we can't solve Jamaica's problems.
well, I can't play before me leaving. I remember, yeah, a little laugh. Me know you're going to laugh for this. I get a little laugh. Now I give you. Now make it here. This a JLP me with the maths. Because we just deal with the real maths now. Just listen to JLP me here with the maths over Portland. I'm at the me same way, you know. I'm at the me over there, you know, for them me. Now make it hear this me. Portland. Make it your Portland me right now. Portland. Land. And please, you just ask them about the math? The maths? More me. All right, see now. Just listen to me with the maths. We have to do this before we leave.
What you were saying?
Mr. Mackenzie is suggesting that there's a certain level of partisanry on the part of how you allocate certain benefits at the municipal level.
Mr. McKenzie cannot come to this on this platform and say anything like that. What I have done is what he was practicing when he was the mayor. When he was the mayor and he gets the funding from the ministry, he shares it in a 50, 100% basis. He gives the JLP 50% and they take 100%. And it is evident right now that is exactly what I'm doing.
Hold on. That maths not sound right. If you get $100 million, him take 100% and get the PNP 50.
Get half of it.
No, that's not. No. Something.
That's what he was doing.
No, but you can't have 150% or something, sir. How much would he take, and how much would he give the PNP?
If he gets $10 to share for the council,
Yes.
if the PMP would get 100 or $50 out of the $10, and his JLP will get $25.
Me done with him, you know. Me done. Me know what. Yeah.
But how different is he from the people interpreting the polls?
He's not different. That's what I play it. That's what I play it. These are the valves, them me are this, you know. He's not different. Him say you get $50 out of $10, you know. And then you get an next $25 out of the $10, you know. I don't know how him do it, but him bad him.
No, man. I want him to come generate some funds for me.
That me I say.
Because he can do more out of less.
Whoa. Yeah? No, him for work in a leeching bank. In the NCD. So me not gonna go change money. Come on, if you give him a 10,000, you get 50,000, and you give him a next. So you could ever give him $1 million, you know. You give him 50 million, you know. You give him 10 million, you get 50 million, you know. So him that block the bank in a day, you know. Can you just line up in a grab nothing? You just change up the money for you.
Yeah,
So
I was a pleasure again to be here as a child of the Jamaican people.
Yes.
Because all what I'm saying, you know, the foundation I got in this country. So when I went to the United States, I was way up, tall up, because of the education I got here. And it's my responsibility not to take sides, but to speak truth to power.
Yes. Yes. That's good. Anyway, Professor, you know, say, one other day, I have to carry you back again because, you know, them always make the mistake and I have to carry to correct it for them, you know. Yes. Me not carry them here, though. Me not interview. Me not want him on there because me not the people them that vex with me. that me I can come round. But Professor, thanks for having you again, you know.
Yeah, man, respect.
Yeah, man. Credit show here. All right. We are out. Bless.
We in lump sum, we a beat it till the hammer burn. We now make them get in and them and again. None of them boy that we none of them. We in lump sum, we a beat it till the hammer burn. We now make them get in and them and again. None of them boy that we none of them. We alone some rise up the bomber day.
I'm in not just not a Judas, them a backstabber. I'm my wife and this straight beauty and glamour. No guy can walk to near me with no dagger. Me the heart of Mandela, but the mind of a Zama in the mold like a bullman. We send us the jammer. Lyrically inclined, be a metaphor, so no listen to lyrics line to line. Become a lyrical theater. Put up any rhythm, they'll want some more hole in a hater. Lyrically inclined.